Good morning, dorks. How's it going? This is a video. This is going to be a different video from all the other videos because everything's going to be different forever and just get used to it. But this video in particular, we are going to watch a time-lapse of an offline Dwarf Fortress playthrough that I did over the last weekend. If you know on stream, what we've been doing, or what I've been doing up until recently, is trying to make a Metropolis as fast as possible. As judged by the in-game calendar. So it's not really a speedrun, it's, you know, trying to do things as quickly as possible in-game, but there's pauses and stuff. So we were doing that on stream for quite a while. I think I did 5 fortress attempts on stream, and I kind of reached a plateau. I kind of said a lot of the things that were holding us back in the speed of that run was turning into things that were about the world. I think, and I still think, I think I'm correct, but I didn't want to make new worlds for the stream, but I wanted to keep making attempts at this Metro percent is what I've been calling it. So I just did it offline. I made a couple new worlds. I did some fresh fortresses offline just to see if there was any potential for it to be faster if it were in a new world. Lo and behold, second attempt offline, I got this. And I think it's special enough that I want to show it to you. This is the fastest that I think I can get it with my tactics and my strategies and my knowledge. So I want to show it to you because it happened off stream, so no one saw it. So I want you to see it because it's cool, but also this is where I'm gonna let this rest. This is my final attempt for now, unless someone can prove to me that it can be done faster. If someone beats this, maybe I'll come back to it, but I don't think anyone's gonna try, and I don't think they can. I think this is dang near close the fastest that this can be done. And I would love to be proven wrong. I want to see when someone prove me wrong. If you think you can do this faster, you better record it and show it to me, because I want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to see what you do, and I want to beat it. But here's what I did. So I put all of my things together in a video. The full normal speed playthrough is over on my second channel, Reach Outer. It's about 8 hours long. But I don't expect anyone to just sit down and watch all of that. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna watch the video. We're gonna watch basically what's over on the other channel, but we're gonna watch it real fast. I'm gonna put it, I'm loading it up in VLC here. We're gonna put it on time 16 speed. It's gonna turn into about half an hour of stuff. And I'm going to explain what's going on in voiceover style as it goes. We're just gonna watch it together. And that's gonna be it. It don't gotta be more complicated than that. So yeah. And also music. We're listening to chill music. I have this is the Chill Tendo album by Jokabi, provided to us by Game Chops. There'll be links down there. I don't have my fancy now playing stuff in this scene, so the links are down there. But we're listening to an album straight through. I just turned off shuffle on the audio thing, and we're just gonna listen to this album, and it's gonna be chill, and it's gonna be great. And let's get into it. Let's move over here, and then I can go to this. Yeah, okay. So now we have our gameplay. So we're gonna start with world gen. So here's my world gen settings. Main thing was 250 years, high number of sites, and then minerals everywhere because that's good. And then medium everything else. And then I'm just gonna hit play, right? And this should, yeah, okay. I think we're going at the right speed. Yeah. Okay, so this is world gen. I went up to 250 years. And the main thing that the main reason I did this, and the main reason I created a new world, is because I think the thing that was holding us back in the last stream attempt at this was just too few people in our parent civilization. We ended up, I ended up like re-embarking a couple times and then getting in the, like not putting myself in the civilization that I meant to. So our civilization had fewer people than would be ideal, but also we weren't very close to our parent civilization's population centers because I forgot which civilization we were in. I forgot to select it. So I think the combination of being far from our population center and not having a very populous parent civilization made it harder to get migrants. And that was the main thing that I was trying here. And here you can see I was looking at all the different civilizations. And here we're searching for a site. And once this goes, I'll even pause it here for a second. Yeah, I can just pause it. That's cool. So here, this is kind of our dwarven area here. You can see a bunch of fortresses. This is our parent civilization, but then there's just this sea of human hamlets here. And we embark, I think we come down here into this forest here, because forests have been very good for giving us resources and stuff. You can see me scrolling around. Yeah, here we are. We go over into this forest. We do the same kind of embark setup that we've been doing on stream. I add back in a couple of things that were missing. I think I removed some things I didn't really care about. Yeah, we got all the milk, we got all the meat, all the sand that's giving us kind of free bags and barrels and such. And there, and now we're embarked, and here we are. This is Iron Appear. Yeah, perfect. And so yeah, it's going to be very familiar if you've seen our live stream attempts at this. It's going to be the same. I'm going off the same notes. So we're getting our initial stuff set up. There's our initial underground stuff. It goes so fast at times 16 speed. Holy cow. But yeah, we got hunting dogs. We got fishing. We got hunting going on. We're mostly, we're chopping down some trees. We're getting some initial setup stuff here. You can see I'm actually going through and turning off all the DF hack stuff because I wanted to make sure that it was all actually off. The only thing I really used DF hack for in here was things like selecting everything in a menu, like when you're doing the trading stuff. DF hack adds some keyboard shortcuts for making that easier. That's really all DF hack was used for here. And you can see us digging through the aquifer down there. We ended up with a pretty standard aquifer setup. We have like a layer of sand up at the top before the aquifer starts, and then there's several layers of aquifer, and then we dig through all of that, and then we dig our fortress below the aquifer itself. But yeah, we're getting everything inside. One thing I've been more diligent about in these later attempts is giving everyone a chance to move all of that food underground before I actually start giving them a whole bunch of orders. And here I'm actually I'm putting in a bunch of work orders. But there's been other times where I've given them too much stuff to do, and then all those barrels end up just sitting up on the surface and rotting, which is a waste, obviously. So making sure they get through their stuff before giving them too much stuff. But then yeah, as now they're going to work on all those work orders, and we're going to keep digging down through the aquifer. There we go. Doing some exploratory digging down there, building a bunch of workshops. As soon as we reach the cave, we're going to have a underground pasture growing in that sandy area. And there we go. There's the caves. There's the aquifer. This aquifer ended up being kind of gnarly down there, but the fortress itself ended up fine. It's just finding all of our minerals ended up being a whole task. Yeah, and then we're draining the aquifer straight into the cave, my favorite method for that. And then yeah, that was one season. Now we're in early summer. And they're getting all their stuff kind of set up. Initial crafting of all the kind of essentials, right? One thing I did here was a lot of the standard furniture, like tables and chairs and doors and such, is made out of wood this time. I didn't want to use all of our stone up. Oh, and instruments, of course. We're already making instruments. So one thing that happened with this fortress, which was lucky, kind of, was we had simple glass instruments and porcelain instruments, but not simple metal instruments. So I wasn't able to make our fancy platinum instruments. There weren't even any instruments with metal primary components. So I ended up having to find a better use for our platinum And see, there's the end of one play session, and now we're in another. Just moving right along. So we're doing a lot of glass stuff, and we're doing a lot of porcelain stuff, but I think the metal stuff I hold off for a while until we get more established downstairs. But those porcelain instruments in particular, I think added to our early wealth pretty well. I think they're coming out like 300 a pop, and of course you're using like kaolinite to make them out of porcelain, and we got plenty of, I think we're looking for kaolinite there. And we get plenty of fuel, lots and lots of fuel, so really just cranking through and making stuff as early as possible. The other thing that I did a little bit differently with this this attempt was not digging our proper fortress. Like we have kind of a temporary area up top where we just moved everything inside, and we have just all of these workshops, and this is not ideal, right? This is not gonna handle all of the production that we want to be able to do, but this is plenty for our initial 12 dwarves here. So instead of trying to move downstairs in this first year, I focused these first 3 months. Now we're in autumn already, but these first 3 months before the first dwarven caravan shows up, we're digging, and we're just producing wealth in that top area. I'm not trying to make like an actual fortress at this point, and that's just to get our wealth in autumn as high as possible, because that's really, really important. We want to make sure that this first dwarven caravan leaves our map with reporting as much wealth as we can make. And you see they're already here. Dwarves are already here. And I think we ended up just over 20,000 wealth by the time they're leaving, as reported by our broker. So who knows how accurate that is, but that's the number that gets reported to the Dwarven civilization, and that's the primary driver. Oh, what was that? That was weird. The primary driver of our migration waves. But the other thing that you may notice, the screens are just flashing by so fast. You may or may not actually see it, but we get a bunch of bards here. 12 dwarves. We're still, there's our migrant wave. That's our second, hard-coded migrant wave. But in this next year, we're going to see a whole bunch of visitors. This fortress is going to be like half visitors, and and I think that is what ends up saving us. I don't know what's going on with there's some graphical tearing going on there. I assume that's just VLC and the speed up. I don't think the actual recording looked that way, but I don't know. I haven't actually watched all this back. That is weird. Oh well. That's just good. It's just the way it's gonna be. Here we're building our pretty standard, at this point, courtyard. We're gonna do some all our fishing on the river there. We're gonna make some water wheels. We're gonna do some farms. We're gonna do some beekeeping. It's all just gonna happen right there in our courtyard, and it works so lovely. But see, now I'm working on this kind of stuff because now we've had our first dwarven caravan is gone. We have another year before that number matters again, so I'm doing my best to get things set up. And now here we're digging the actual fortress. This is our my standard central waterfall setup. I fiddle with it quite a bit here. But we make our little central spiral, and we're going to feed the waterfalls with the aquifers that we have revealed. And there's the waterfall paths. Again, if you want to see all of this in actual real time, just go over to my second channel. You can see all of this in better detail. But I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you what's going on here in something a little faster than an 8-hour video, because I know you're not going to watch that. So hopefully this works out a little bit better. Now we're draining out into the caves, building some walls. And then once that's done, it's a bit fiddly. You can see that took a bit of attention to get it all set up. But once that's all set up, it's done. It's also a lot of attention that you can put in while paused. The digging itself doesn't take very long. The building those walls doesn't take very long. And now we're digging out the aquifer on top of the waterfalls themselves. This will be the water source for the waterfalls, putting in some grates there so no one falls in. Ask me how I know. Yeah, there we go, got some farms going. But now it's spring. This is going to be like one full year. So now we're waiting for like our actual migrant waves, the ones that we are actually attracting. But we're going to start getting a bunch of, well, we haven't even built a proper tavern at this point, right? I think I assigned a space in that initial underground area as a tavern, but obviously it's not a very attractive tavern. It's just a patch of sand. But once we get an actual tavern here established, then I think we start attracting bards and monster hunters pretty quickly. Yeah, that's gonna be this is gonna be the food and the dining hall. That's the food stockpile. Digging all this out. And I was thinking about attracting people like that, so I prioritized our dining hall and all of our food shops. Yeah, here we go. And just as I build the things downstairs in their more permanent location, I disassemble them from upstairs. Of course, we're building more things as we build them down here. Kind of expanding and solidifying our production capabilities. This is our main production floor. Big stockpiles above and below, linked with all these stairs linking in between. You see our farms are already going so good. I didn't even bother with underground farms. It's just these 4 little above ground plots. They're doing things like barley and rice and longland grass, I think. Things like that. And yeah, here's it. Oh man, 37 right off the bat. So that was a pretty good migrant wave. Some of them, like, it was pretty hit or miss. We had a couple that were above 20 for sure. People hanging out in the ponds. Don't know why. That was a pretty common occurrence. They really liked those ponds. They eventually drained too. But yeah, we got a nice migrant wave there, but not all of them are real big. There were a couple of single digits or like low teens for migrant waves, but that is definitely supplemented with all of our visitors. And I think the 2 of them combined was just enough to get us there. And here we're actually digging out the aquifer, so this will be what actually generates the water for the waterfalls. And then here's our stockpiles. Basically with our workshop floors, I make kind of a sandwich. You got all the workshops in the middle, and then below you have all of these kind of fiddly stockpiles, all the different stone stockpiles. The wood goes down here, all the raw supplies really, and then above you have these really big furniture and finished goods stockpiles, and then a whole bunch of bedrooms. And then this is kind of the everything else floor. Nobles' quarters, guild halls, temples. I only make those as they are needed. We got one big temple there that's going to be for no specific deity, so that everyone has a place to go. And this is going to be the hospital. And then I think there were a couple of temples that were requested, and by the time they get around to requesting guild halls and temples and stuff, it's fine. Like we have the resources to give them a little temple, so I usually do that. I satisfied all those requests. We don't make a library. A library might have actually been helpful, because we're not attracting scholars, obviously. We're just attracting bards and a couple of monster hunters. But I didn't want to mess with paper and stuff. You might be able to attract a decent amount of scholars with just a library and not actually making books for them. But I didn't do that. Maybe that's worth trying. And so now we're making water wheels, and we're going to use our water wheels to power millstones down in the kitchen. And we're going to use those to make a whole bunch of flour, because we're making a bunch of things that can be made into flour, like barley and I think rice. I don't actually know. But I don't even, with the work orders, I don't even care. You just put in a repeating work order for mill all the things that can be milled. and that's just all they do. So yeah, now you have the millstones, screw presses for the honey, because we have beehives in the courtyard upstairs, and a bunch of rock nests because eggs are good too. Yeah, look at us. They're digging up all the workshop floors, putting in all the workshops. And then removing the ones that we've got. And putting in some forges. Here's our hospital. We got some more migrants showing up. See, that one wasn't huge. That was around 10 or something. But it's still welcome citizens. They're gonna go and get to work. Still a lot of stuff to be done in here. And there we're smelting platinum and gold. I don't think I ever actually found any gold. We found plenty of platinum, but again, we didn't have any instruments that we can make out of metal where the main component is made out of metal. So if you make the secondary components out of metal, then you're not getting a whole bunch of use out of the metal. It'd be like making metal crafts, which there's a better use for things like platinum. All those stupid warriors. Yeah, you can see our friends hanging out in the water. Don't know why. They like that. This map had a whole bunch of monkeys. There was a bunch of capuchins and gray langurs. So every once in a while there's a swarm of monkeys on the surface, and all the people just kind of run around. Oh, and also we have Thek. You'll see what looks like just a demon running around. That's a friend. That's a citizen. Yeah, they're in the they're in the dining hall. He stays with us for the rest of this run, and I'm unclear if he's a demon or an angel. I think they look kind of the same. But he's a fist of some specific deity, but he's also a bard. He's here to entertain our citizens, and he does a very good job. Here you can see I'm probably making dinner or something. Yeah, there we go. His name is Thek Soulsbeans, and he's my favorite. There we go. You can see our waterfalls going nice there. We're checking out our instruments. I think there was an instrument that I thought the primary component was going to be metal, so I made one. The alid here, we made a handful of alids, but then it turned out the pipes, the alid pipes there that you can see at the top, are not the primary component. I thought they were, and then they weren't. So then we stopped making those. And here we're trading. I trade away a whole bunch of our porcelain bogoshes, which are just giant porcelain bells. So many of them. But it's already... And then mussel shell crafts. That was kind of the key too. I thought there were things that you could do with mussel shells that got some good value out of them, but after some testing, we found out that some of the numbers on the wiki, Thek Soulsbeans. He's there. There he is. Some of the numbers on the wiki are a little bit wrong, so there isn't anything you can do with shells that is worth more than another thing. So I just made a whole bunch of crafts, and then we used those for our trade goods primarily, and then our citizens can go grab their mussel shell crowns as much as they want to. There's another migrant wave, another 10 or so. Again, not huge, but enough. We also have our food going pretty good. One thing I've done in previous fortresses was put a limit on how much food we produce in the first year, because I figured it would be better to be making, wealth things, making our glass and porcelain things in that first year. But I don't know how this works, but I feel like the amount of food that you have is also a factor in the migrants that you attract. Again, I don't know for sure, but with this fortress, I just put in the food in the drink quarters, and I didn't put a limit on them on how much food and drink they make at all. They're just making as much as they can, as fast as they can for this entire fortress. So you can see currently we're at 3,600 food, 400 drink. At some point, I think it's already happened, but at some point we ran out of drink. So what I ended up doing was putting a limit on the food, because I think we cooked all of our booze. You know, they're just getting a little overambitious there. But what I ended up doing was put in a limit on the meal order to limit meal production if we're under a certain amount of drink. And I think that kind of fixed it. I think it was like, so long as we have fewer than 200 drink, we are not cooking meals. And that worked out nicely. We end up with a whole bunch of drink and a whole bunch of food. And it's all from those farms upstairs. And then here we're constantly just downstairs working through all those aquifers, trying to you know, feed the forges, just trying to keep them stocked with kaolinite and other things, and platinum and fuel and iron and steel. Obviously, we're also making a whole bunch of steel bolts because I didn't think like I end up using the platinum for minecarts. You'll see a whole bunch of platinum minecarts. So that's what the platinum gets used for, because minecarts have a pretty high you know, base value. It's the same base value as an instrument main component, but it takes more bars. So, you know, it's still quite a bit of wealth created, but it's just less efficient with our bars. So we'll get a whole bunch of platinum minecarts, but also I figured that wasn't quite the best use of our nice big forge setup here. So I also make a bunch of steel bolts, because I think those are pretty good for wealth as well. Just because you make so many of them at a time. One steel bar turns into 25 steel bolts, and that's a thing. That's quite a good chunk of wealth. So clearly it worked out for us. I don't know where our final wealth ended up in total, just because it's, you know, reported by our broker. So, you know, it was enough, but I don't know what the actual number ended up being. More bedrooms, and at this point we're kind of just doing more of what we have, right? We're in late winter of the second year. We're about to enter year 3, and we're just finding more materials. We're going through all these magnetite veins to find all the platinum. We're digging for more. We're finding more stuff. Trying to find more kaolinite. I think we ran out of kaolinite for a good bit, so I was hunting for more. So much of it lives in the aquifer, which is just a pain. So I'm mostly just hunting for bits that aren't in the aquifer. But you can also see our mood. The waterfalls are taking care of our mood pretty good. We're not doing a lot of the things that you would normally need to do for mood. We're not doing clothing. We have nice food, and we have a bunch of instruments, and then waterfalls, but that's basically all we're actually doing for mood. So the waterfalls are really doing the lion's share of keeping our mood going. We don't have any tantrums or anything going on in this fortress. Don't have any justice issues. I don't think I even have the justice positions assigned. We're just all one big happy family here. And we embarked with a bunch of sheep. Sheep and turkeys are what I embarked with. So we're milking the sheep, and we're shearing the sheep, and we're making yarn, and we're making yarn bags, and the yarn bags are being used for all the sand and the flour and seeds and stuff that we're making. So I'm not actually growing any cloth crops. We're not making any cloth out of stuff that we're growing. We're just shearing the sheep and making yarn stuff. Oh, there's more. That's a good microwave. Yeah, look, the spring ones are usually pretty good. But now we're up to 85. I think we're gonna get a mayor in here at some point. And we're just mining through all of that aquifer stuff. So fun. We did have someone die. I want to say we had a vampire. It was like my first... Like, we've been streaming for a year on Twitch, and I haven't had a vampire show up, and then lo and behold, the only deaths in this fortress were from a vampire. But they don't feed too frequently. I think we only lost 2 or 3 people by the time this run ends, so, you know, whatever. I just kind of ignored it. But now we're in summer. Now we're in summer of year 3. We're a town. We're at 87 people, and we're already coming up towards the end. We're in the last hour of gameplay here. And the number of visitors that we have is like really starts to crank up here. You'll see that number kind of going up one by one. As we're sitting here, pretty sure. But what ends up happening at the end here is that we succeed with the fall dwarven caravan. We hit 140 people, and we export our 10,000 or 30,000. We have to export 30,000, right? We hit our export goal and our population goal within days of each other. It ended up being quite fortuitous. So you'll see the dwarves show up. We'll trade with them. We'll get 140 people. It's all going to happen kind of right at once. And then we get our first forgotten beast downstairs, but it's fine. Everything's closed off. There's another migrant wave. Now we're at 94. And at this point, I didn't have a whole lot of hope for this run at this point even. I didn't realize how close we were. Mostly because I honestly didn't think that all of our visitors were going to count for Metropolis. I figured they had to become full-time citizens to actually count in that regard, but they didn't. Like our 94 there, that is not all citizens, I don't think. I think that it's quite a few visitors, like quite a few bards in that number, so it all worked out. All of the humans on the world map out there, I think they are what pushed us over. And there were, I'm mostly just checking production here, making sure everyone's working, making sure everyone's doing stuff. We got all these kilns and all these glass furnaces. They're just going nuts. I think we had a strange mood where someone wanted plant cloth specifically. So I had to find the pigtail thread that we embarked with and turn it into cloth. Because clearly we weren't making or using plant cloth. But yeah, now we're at 111, 112, early autumn here. I want to say we even get like one of the last people that we approve for residency is like a troop. So it pops up like by 10 here towards the end. Yeah, we're at 119 already. Do we lose someone? They do. So the residents will just kind of leave on their own, but our place is so happy and so great, I don't think a lot of them left. Thek is still here. Now we're at 120. And there's 122. They're coming in hot and fast here, and here we're being approved for a barony. Of course, that's not going to matter. Now we're at 130. We're making quarters for our baron, and now we're at 140. I think that was one massive troop, and here we're exporting, and now we're at Metropolis. Look at that. We've already done it. And then here I'm just looking at everything that we have. Look at all these bards. Look at all these people. Look at all these people. We got a whole bunch of humans and goblins just sitting around in our tavern. And that's what did it for us. There we go. That's the end. That's it. That was the whole thing. We meet with Metropolis in 849 days is what that turns out to be. You embark in like the 15th of spring. We succeeded in whatever that was, like the 23rd of autumn, of early autumn even. We didn't even get our autumn migrant wave. That was the autumn dwarven caravan and a whole bunch of bards, We got a whole bunch of people all at once. So yeah, if you want to see the whole thing at real time, go over to the Rechowder channel. I'll put a link. There's probably something over here at some point. Go check that out. But that's it. That's what I did. That's freaking fast. My previous record, personal best, was a hair over 3 years. So the following spring, like we succeeded in early fall, early autumn. My previous best was early spring of the following year, because very little happens in the winter there. And that's kind of what I felt. Like if you can get faster than that spring, it's gonna have to be like 6 months earlier. Because the winters are kind of slow. You're not getting a whole lot of citizens during the winter. You're definitely not trading during the winter. But there you go. I want to see if someone can do it faster. If you think you can get 140 citizens and 300,000 created wealth and 30,000 exported wealth, and faster than that, faster than 2.5 years, I want to freaking see it. This is my challenge. This is me saying, I don't think you can. I think this is about as fast as that goes, as far as Metropolis goes. Indoor Fortress in this version. I think that's it. I think you can shave off some days. I don't think you can shave off a season. I think you'd have to get like even lucky. Like this had a lot of luck in it. Everything went right in this fortress. You didn't see any, like there were like 2 dead people. Seriously, 2 corpses, this entire fortress. There was a goblin siege in there. It probably happened so fast, I didn't even notice it. But I didn't make a military. It was just all of the visiting monster hunters that happened to be in the courtyard and the cage traps dealt with it. It was 6 goblins. I think we caught 3 of them, killed 3 of them. If anyone died, they were visitors. And we moved on with our lives. I didn't have to use any of our steel for gear. It just all turned into bolts. That's all we were doing. We were just making stuff all day long. And I kept everyone busy, kept everyone happy, and it worked. So yeah, that's the end of this ramble. I think I put the save itself up on the file depot, DFFD. I'll put a link down there too for that as well. If you want to check out the save, like right at the end there, I saved right at the end and you know, put it over to the side and uploaded it. So if you want to see what that fortress looks like right when it hit Metropolis, you can go download it and check it out. You can also go check out the full 8 hours of playthrough that took. Saves, you know, pauses and AFKs and all. Only 8 hours for the whole thing. You can check that out over on the second channel. Otherwise, drop a like or subscribe here. This is my channel. We're doing whatever the heck we want here. A lot of it's going to be for video games because I like video games, but I mean, we're also crafting things. I have a crafting project going on at the live stream right now, and that's going to be real cool. It's awfully similar to that. If you notice that, it's cool. We're making another one. But also like stories and fiction and just stuff, right? If I find something cool, it's going to show up here. So thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you around. Don't forget to stay kind.